own me, but you don't. You think you can destroy me. You can't. Your labels do not contain me. Your lies do not intimidate me. I will not be less than what I was created to be, and I will not run in fear. Time and time again, you've held me down, but not today. Today, I will revive. Today, you run from you, because I am strong. I am courageous. I am an overcomer.
Well, welcome to our new series. I hope you're excited, ready to shatter some glass.
Yes.
All right, I'm excited. I'm ready. This is going to be a cool series. We're gonna rock and roll through this for 4 weeks. So hope you guys are excited. It's called Overcomer, and I'm excited about it. And we're starting a 4-part message series. And if our technology works, hopefully we'll have the videos available out there for those if you missed one. But I hope you won't. So 4-part message series. We're going to talk about overcoming some of the struggles that so often entangle our lives, and that's what we're going to be dealing with. If I can tell you about next week, of the 4 weeks, perhaps this is going to be, it might be the best one. I don't know. You guys be the judge. But it's a favorite subject next week, and it's about apathy, overcoming apathy. Do you care? Me neither. Apathy. Okay, in fact, so many people said that this is an apathetic generation, or that they say that there's an epidemic of apathy within our communities, within our world perhaps. So next week I pray that God's Word will spark a fire of passion in so many hearts that will take a new direction to this. And we're going to be talking about overcoming apathy next week. Do you care?
Yes. We care. Sure we do.
So I wanted to talk about something that, quite honestly, this morning, it's something I struggle with in my own life. Go figure, huh? God's always got me doing these messages, So something that I struggle with in my own life. I find it a difficult area for me sometimes. And I want to be a little transparent today. I try to be transparent, but I want to be a little bit transparent today. And I'm asking God to work on this area for me in my life. I want to talk about overcoming the curse of comparison.
A little different.
The curse of comparison, okay? The curse of comparison. I find it so easy to make comparisons about my own life, right? And what I do and what I don't have, or because it's easy to fall into this trap that we often come into, a comparison trap where we're comparing things. Chances are you will, at some point in your life, if this hasn't already happened to you, you'll become really satisfied with something. Now this could be an accomplishment or something you've obtained or something in your life that's special or new or different. And then you look over your shoulder. And you see something a little better. And then you're just a little bit miserable. There's a chance that you'll have that experience in your life if you haven't already. The fastest way to kill something special is to compare it to something else. That's the fastest way to kill something special. Now, I moved into a neighborhood, and I'm there in this neighborhood, and this guy has this beautiful lawn. It's gorgeous. He works on it all the time. The grass is just perfect. The flowers are awesome. They're just beautiful. I talk to him all the time. Great guy, and really good neighbor, and very, very just really into his yard. Well, the house next to his sold, and this lady moves in. She walks down the street. Well, she starts bringing in some different people to do trees and landscape and stuff, and she walks down the street, she meets him. And, most neighbors would just kind of greet you and say, welcome to the neighborhood, or it's nice to meet you, my name is... Not this lady. This lady looked at my neighbor and she said, you think your yard looks nice, don't you? Not much longer. I'm here. And to his yard. Okay? And it hasn't even already started yet. Now, so I'm just like dying. You gotta be kidding. So I'm watching the yard's going right now. It's awesome. You know, and there's like 4 new frog creatures in one yard. Anyway, it's fun for me just to kind of watch it. And they're both beautiful yards. But anyway, you get the idea. This kind of stuff really happens. It really happens in our heads and in our lives. Let me tell you a more personal story. When I was growing up, I joined the Cub Scouts. Yeah, the Cub Scouts. And we did this thing called a Pinewood Derby. Anybody remember that? Anyone make a Pinewood Derby car? Can I see any hands? Okay, you've done that. Okay, so I'm not totally out of touch with my crowd here. So the little bag shows up, right? It's a little block of wood, right? And the instructions are the scout, the little cubby, that's me. The kid is supposed to make this thing, and it's specific. It's supposed to be the child that makes the car. And my dad, being the honest guy that he is and the cool guy that he is, he begins to allow me to make this car, and he helps me. And I make the Pinewood Derby car. And it's a block of wood, and it kind of, as you make it, you kind of gives you a pattern. It's a rounded car. I wish I would have done a picture, but I didn't. Anyway, the block of wood becomes a little car, and you put the little wheels on it, and you take it, and you compete with, you bring your car to all the other scout cars, right? And to the big meeting where you show off your car. So I did my first car. My dad pretty much let me make it, and I did a pretty good job. At least I thought, at least it was a little bit rounded. The wheels were a little wobbly, but it looked pretty good. Man, I get to this place with my dad, and these kids had dads that were like aerospace engineers. I mean, I don't know where the block of wood was. Like flying cars and wheels and sparkly and hubcaps and all this. Like, where did the block of wood go? I mean, and then these dads that had aerospace engineers and mechanical design, and you can tell these kids didn't touch the car. This was the dad's Pinewood car. He'd probably spent hours and hours laboring this. He took it to NASA. You get the idea. So there's my little wooden car. It's like, oh my goodness. I almost want to go back into the car and just go home. I think we did that for 2 years in a row. My dad finally said, I'm not doing this anymore. So, and we just quit, because of the comparison. It just took all the joy out of it. Because what was I doing? I was comparing my car to their cars, right? And that was really hard as a kid, and that was my focus. And so that was difficult. So we do this, don't we? We do it as a child, we do it as an adult, we keep on doing it. You think we get better at it, but we really don't. There's a guy named Stephen Furtick. If you ever get a chance to hear him preach in Charlotte, he's great. Got a little church there. What's the name of that little church, David? Little church?
Elevation.
Elevation, yeah, it's a little church called Elevation. It's huge. So anyway, his name's Stephen Furtick. He's written a few books. But anyway, this is what he says about this problem. The problem is we're comparing our behind the scenes with everybody else's highlight reels. That's what we're doing. See, and in my family, we love movies. But often you can get the movies where you can play the highlights, reels, and you can also play the behind the scenes. All the crazy stuff that happens in making the movie and making the film. All the things that went wrong, right? Which you don't ever see in the final product. The problem with our society, the problem with us, is that we are constantly, we're using our behind the scenes, and we're taking that and we're comparing it to people's highlight reels. With all the fluffy, great stuff that's happening. Where comparison begins, contentment ends. Let me say that again. Where comparison begins, contentment ends. You see, your friends on Facebook, like she's on her second vacation, right, of the year. You can't even afford to go to grandma's house. You're like, there she is, in the picture, sitting there at the pool, and they take a picture of their feet, and I've done this too, I really have. I've taken pictures of my feet and put it on Facebook. Why do people do that? And they're at the pool, and they're reading their book, and you're looking at this, and I don't like your feet. I don't like your book, and I don't like your pool. And you're reading this stuff, and they're at the perfect dinner, right? There's the lobster and the diamond ring, and your husband's playing video games and eating TV dinners. What is that? So it's easy to lose our contentment when we start to compare, isn't it? We start to lose that. We love our home until our neighbors get that upgrade, right? That, Martha Stewart upgrade look, and then we're just miserable. It's never been easier to compare than before than today with social media. Never has it been easier to do this in our minds, in our world. You see what's going on, you go, oh, I wasn't invited to that party or that gathering, or I didn't know about that, or they're taking another vacation, and then, again, you got the marriage and the lobster and the dates and all that stuff going on. But what's going on though is you're seeing the behind the scene, you're in the behind the scenes, you're dealing with your life, and you're seeing all these highlight reels flashing in front of you, and you're comparing. Recently, my family and I, we do karate, and we do karate here in the fellowship hall twice a week, and we try to bring people into our little club in the studio, and we do karate, and my family's been doing karate since, a long time. And my wife and I started when we were in college, and then my son and my wife took off, and they've been doing it for 8, 10 years or whatever. Anyway, long story short, we've been doing karate a long time. My family's been doing it a long time. And we started competing when we moved here from Hawaii. We never got to compete because, when you're on an island in the Pacific's farthest place away from any place, there's not too much competition on an island. So we never got to compete until we came here. So now we compete all the time. We compete in worlds and stuff like that. Well, we went just a few weeks ago to the spring tournament in some place called South Carolina. What's that place called? Lincoln or something, South Carolina. Anyway, it's about 6 or 7 hours away from here. Let me get to the point. So we're there competing, and my son has this awesome form. I mean, it's awesome. He has this awesome, hopefully get hit with a sword. He does it with a real master's sword. It's a big sword, and he does this form, and it's really good. I'm saying it's really good. I'm not just a dad, but it's really good. And this was a smaller tournament, and we went to compete, and he did this form in this competition. I tell you not, the other rings stopped. The other competition stopped to watch his performance. I mean, it was good. I mean, it was, and I'm dad, but what do you expect? So it was just so good. Well, this other guy gets up and he does a form. Now, and it was good. It was good. But, and I'm biased, right? But it wasn't as good as my son's form. No way. So, my son doesn't get the gold medal, okay? He gets the silver medal, okay? I'm distraught, honestly. Well, I can't believe, in my head, right? I'm not doing anything, right? This is going on in my head. I can't believe it wasn't the gold medal performance. What happened? I mean, what's wrong with these scores? I mean, they having drinks on the side or something? What's going on? So, so I'm rather upset about it. So most of the time I spent focusing on that during the tournament, comparing his form to the other guy's form. Now, thank to God, I've raised a son. You always want to raise a son better than you, right? My son didn't care. He didn't. He was thrilled with his performance. A lot of people talking about it. He does it because he loves it. It really didn't matter to him. He was thrilled to get a silver medal. I mean, a lot of people don't get any medals. And he was totally happy within his own self with what he was doing. Totally cool with it. It was just bothering me. Needless to say, I was real happy when a couple other black belts came up after and said, "Hey, David, that was really good. I don't know why you didn't get the gold." And I'm going, right. So we compare, don't we? And I'm still doing this stuff. So finally my wife, I think, somewhere along the line, she knew what was going on in my head and said, "Just stop it." Because she knows what's going on. Your wives know what's going on in your head. You guys know that, right? So she just, I see some shaking. So she said, "Just quit doing that. Just don't let it go." So we do this kind of thing. Let me give you another story real quick. And I have permission to share all these, by the way. I have them cleared. I put a picture on Facebook of my son and daughter playing a game out on the porch the other day, a little game of chess, and it's a fun little game. And they're kind of smiling, and it's a good shot. And it got lots of likes on Facebook and liked it, and they're out there having a good time. So that's the highlight reel of that day, right? What you don't see in that picture is an hour before that, I was in the dentist office holding my daughter's hand while he stuck one of those fun syringes into her gums and extracted a tooth. So while she's sitting there, and I took that picture so it looked good, you don't see any blood running down her chin. You don't know that her mouth is stuffed with gauze. Or can you follow me? You just see the highlight, right? And there's what you have to compare. So 2 personal examples there that hopefully get you connected with where I'm going with this. Let's look at a few different portions of Scripture today. And I really believe, and I pray that God's going to work in some hearts in a very powerful way with this morning. Now, first we're going to have a scripture from Paul. And what Paul says is, he says, don't do this. All these things have been examples. Don't compare ourselves as do. He says just don't do it. And here's the scripture, 2 Corinthians 10:12. But they are only comparing themselves with each other, using themselves as the standard of measurement. And man, he doesn't mince any words here. How ignorant. It's like, why are you doing that? So Paul kind of slams me, doesn't he? With some of the things I just told you that go through in my head. And I'm sure some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about that go into yours. So Paul says just don't do it. Don't do it. Comparing makes you feel either superior or inferior. That's what it does. But guess what? Being superior or inferior, neither of which honor God, do they? They don't honor God. They just don't. You know, I remember when I was completing my PhD, and I was a pre-doctoral fellow in the School of Medicine, and I was working in a field called medical informatics, computer applications in healthcare. People would ask me, so, Doug, soon to be Dr. Doug, what are you going to do when you graduate? Of course, I would say, you know, create world peace, feed all the hungry, take care of everyone's needs, and be very, right? No, that's not what I said. You know what I would say? I'd say, I'm going to make 6 figures. That's, honest to God, that's what I would tell people. I'm going to make 6 figures a year. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. You see, Andy Stanley is a pastor, and he did this message series. He did it. He talks about this thing called the land of Ur. The land of Ur. And it's in a comparison world, the land of Ur. No one is winning in comparison. What is the land of Ur? Well, see, that's where we want to be richer. We want to be cooler. We want to be prettier. We want to be stronger. We want to be funnier. Whatever the Ur. The land of Ur. That's where we like to be and often are. Let's take this one more step. You know, land of Ur, that's not good enough for me. I don't know about you. But I like the land of Ist. That's really where I like to go. I like to go one more step. I want to be the happiest. I want to be the healthiest. You get it? The land of Ur and the happiest. The mostest, right? I want to be there. And many people do. And that's the world in which we often find our minds and we walk into. And we're there whether we want to admit it to ourselves or not. It's what happens. I want to look today at a portion of Scripture that to me is just not only incredible, but it's powerfully hilarious. Powerfully hilarious. I've read this before and it always would get me, but I've never really preached specifically on it, but here it goes. Whenever you read the Bible and you recognize that you're reading in the Scriptures real people experiencing real life with real stuff going on in Scriptures, always remember that. And they're having real struggles. It's actually pretty entertaining if you remember that when you're reading the Bible. So here we are, we have John and Peter in Scriptures. Now, John, if you ever notice when you read John, John writes in the third person. Have you ever noticed that? And the one Jesus loved. That's how John writes. Read it. It's there. It's amazing. It's hilarious. How annoying is that? I mean, this is funny stuff. He refers to himself in the third person. Moses, he would say, in the Scriptures, check me out, he would say, I am the most humble. Yeah, right. And John was the one Jesus loved. They actually write this stuff in Scriptures. It's hilarious. So let's look at Sunday morning early. Mary's visited the tomb. This is Resurrection Day. The tomb's empty. Let's take a look at the Scripture. So Mary came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, John, the one Jesus loved. This is John writing. And he said, they have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we don't know where they have put him. So Peter and the other disciple, John, started for the tomb. Both were running, Peter disciple, John, outran Peter. It's there, look it up. And reached the tomb first. Then Simon Peter came along behind him and went straight into the tomb. Finally, the other disciple, who Jesus loved, had reached the tomb first. Also went inside with John, the one who Jesus loves. This is amazing stuff. I can't make this stuff up. It's too good. It's amazing. This is all taking place at the resurrection of Christ, with an empty tomb before them. Wow, Christ is risen, and by the way, I reached the tomb first. And this is Resurrection Sunday. I mean, it's hilarious. I beat you. I mean, think about it. You know, it's incredible. John 21, after the resurrection, Peter says, let's go fish. They don't catch anything. Some guys are throwing in the net. So, of course, Jesus says, throw in the net on the other side. You know the story, and they catch all the fish. What does John say? Look it up in 21. He says, I saw him first. It's right there. Right there. I saw him first. Peter turned around and saw behind him the disciple whom Jesus loved. Okay? Peter asked Jesus, what about him? So even Peter's, what about John? I mean, he's the one you love, right? Well, according to John anyway. Jesus replied, if I want him to remain alive until I return, what's it to you? Follow me. What were they doing? Comparing themselves to each other. Peter's now comparing himself to John. Jesus says, would you get your head? Quit looking over your shoulder, man. He's looking over his shoulder at John all the time. Amazing. Amazing. You can't faithfully follow Jesus if you're always comparing yourself to someone else. The insecurity is it's that thing that we can't solve any of our problems. An external win cannot satisfy us. An external win. Anything that we get or have or experience cannot satisfy us. There's not enough Urs in the land of Urs or Isses to meet or satisfy our needs. There's not enough money. There's not enough followers. There's not enough attention. There's not enough likes on Facebook. There's not enough popularity. There's not enough success to satisfy us or meet our needs. So why do we look to the outside? Why do we do it? Why do we ask the question, do I make you proud? Am I enough? Do I belong? Am I accepted? Do I measure up? Dad? What, Dad? Am I okay, Dad? Mom? Am I doing okay? Ex-spouse? Current spouse? Boss? Friend? Whoever it is, how are we doing? How are we doing? That's where we get our worth, isn't it? The question we must answer this morning, all of us, is who or what is going to define our worth? Who or what is going to define our worth? If you are a Jesus follower and your answer is anything besides Jesus, guess what? You will always be running a race you can never win. Hebrews 12:1-2. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders, the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. So when someone else succeeds, we celebrate. We experience their blessing. We're happy for them. We're glad. We really get joy from that. That's what should be happening. Because we're running our own race, right? And we run our race. So run to win, all athletes are disciplined in their training, Scripture says. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, right? But we do it for eternal prize. So I run with purpose in every step I take. Purpose in every step defines what's important. And it makes clear what's not. You see, for me personally, I have to continue to remind myself what steps I need to take to be of purpose, to be of value, to not fall into a comparison trap and like Peter be looking over my shoulder at John. I have to take the step. I have to take a step and say, my race is to serve my church. One step. My race is to take a step, and my race is to serve my community well as a pastor. My race is to share and teach the Word of God well in the way that God would have me. My race is to take a step and to be the best father I can be for my children. My race is to take another small step and be the best husband I can be for my wife. My race. That's my race. What's yours? Let Jesus determine your win or choose your win for you. Whether that's having integrity in your business. It's not about what's bigger. It's about what's right. It might be about being a godly dad or a mom. Or it's not about the richness. It's not the biggest house on the block. It's the heart for God and the heart for kids and the heart that God wants you to have. Your race could be simply be a faithful spouse. That could be your race. So how do I focus? How do I stay focused in this crazy comparison world that's obviously been happening for over 2,000 years? Because we see it in Scriptures too. See, we realize that Jesus already won the race. That's how we focus. And we run like we already won. Because if you've already won, guess what you never have to do? You never have to look over your shoulder, do you? Running your race, my race, with purpose every step. Keeping your eyes focused, staying in the lane, fulfilling your calling, whatever that is that God called you to do. However big or however small that might be. Nobody can beat me at being me. Let us pray. Holy and glorious God, we thank you for your love this morning. We thank you for this message from your word. We received this message this morning and thank you for it. Help us to run a race that's set out for us by you. As children of the Most High King, that you gave your life for, we are valued. We are loved. We are lifted up to a value that's incomprehensible. And we thank you for that. Help us to live according to your will, to live according to your purpose. To run the race. To know that you've already won. Amen. Our closing hymn is Breathe on Me, Breathe, Breath of God, number 420. Breathe on Me, Breath of God. We're going to sing verses 1 through 3.